I 62F have lost a lot of weight, and now my daughters, 44F and 38F, and my granddaughter, 22F, seem angry at me because of it. I do not know how to fix it. I am 62 feet. I have 2 daughters. A is 44 feet. R is 38 feet. I have a granddaughter. H is 22 feet. I have known them all their lives. I thought we were close. I thought we were safe with each other. Now I feel like I'm living with strangers, wearing my family's faces. I keep asking myself one ugly question. Is it me, or did I raise mean girls? I have been heavy my whole life. I grew up being the biggest person in the room. I learned early what it feels like to be watched, to be judged, to be treated like your body is your personality, to be treated like your size is a confession. 2 years ago, I weighed 305 pounds. 305. I can still see the number. I can still feel the way my stomach dropped. I can still hear my own thoughts. This is going to kill you. Not in a dramatic way. In the quiet, slow way where you hurt every day and call it normal, I decided I was done. I did not want to be the woman everyone worried about. I did not want to be the woman everyone pitied. I did not want to be the woman people talked around. I wanted to feel like I owned my life again. So I worked. I worked hard. I did not do any magic trick. I did not do any secret hack. I did the boring stuff. I ate high protein. I went low carbs. I cut sugar. I cut calories. I kept treats small and rare because I knew if I banned them, I would break. I walked. I worked out. I kept going on days I did not want to. I kept going on days I was tired. I kept going when no one was clapping. Slowly my body changed, then faster. Then suddenly I looked in the mirror and it felt like I was watching time run backward. Not perfectly, not like a movie, more like a shock, like my face was my face, but it sat on my bones differently. Then last summer I started playing pickleball. I thought it would just be something to do. It became the thing that pushed everything further. It made me move more. It made me sweat. It made me laugh. It made exercise feel like fun and not punishment. It also made the weight drop faster. Since July, I lost 40 pounds. 40. In a few months. That is the part people noticed. That is the part that changed my shape. That is the part that made my clothes hang wrong. That is the part that made my skin show its age. That is the part that made my family stare. Now, I am down over 110 pounds. I am the smallest I have been since my 20s. I still have 40 pounds to go, but I am already living in a body that strangers treat like it matters. That part makes me angry sometimes, because I was always worth basic respect. Even at 305, I knew people can get weird when someone loses weight. I have heard it. Friends change, co-workers change. People act like you are judging them just by existing in a smaller body. I expected awkwardness. I did not expect cruelty, not from my own daughters, not from my own granddaughter. My oldest daughter and my granddaughter had not seen me in person since summer. They had seen pictures, they had seen video calls. But pictures lie. Cameras flatten you. Real life does not. Christmas came. They walked in. And they froze. They tried to act normal. They hugged me. But their eyes kept moving. They looked me up and down like I was a stranger. Like they were measuring me. Like they were trying to decide if they liked what they saw. I told myself I was imagining it. I told myself they were just surprised. I told myself we would settle into the day. Then I went to the bathroom. I was not trying to spy. I was not trying to listen. I was just in the bathroom. I could hear voices in the hallway. I could hear my daughter and my granddaughter talking. They thought they were safe. They thought I could not hear them. I heard them anyway. They said I looked like a deflating balloon. They said it like it was hilarious. They said it like it was a punchline they shared. Then they said something that made my chest go tight. They said soon I would not want to be seen with them. That sentence landed like a knife. Because it was so specific, it was so personal, it sounded like fear. It sounded like resentment. It sounded like accusation. And it made me wonder, something I never wanted to wonder. Was that how they felt about me when I was bigger? Were they ashamed of me? Were they embarrassed? Did they avoid taking me places? Did they feel like I made them look bad? Did they feel like they had to apologize for my body? I stood there with my hand on the door and I felt my eyes burn. I felt tears rise fast. I felt my throat close. I felt humiliated in my own house, at my own holiday. I did not walk out and confront them. I did not want to explode. I did not want to ruin Christmas. I swallowed it. I wiped my face. I stepped out and acted like nothing happened. But after that, I could not unhear it. Everything felt sharp. Every laugh felt pointed. Every glance felt loaded. I tried to keep things light. I tried to focus on food. I tried to focus on family. I tried to pretend the hallway conversation was not echoing in my skull. Then dinner happened, and the comments did not stop. They got bolder. After I heard them in the hallway, I could not relax again. I tried. I truly tried. I told myself it was stress. I told myself they were joking. I told myself I was being sensitive. I told myself I should not let a few words ruin Christmas. But those words did not feel like a joke. They felt like a verdict. They felt like something they had been thinking for a while, like they just finally said it out loud. I walked back into the room with my best fake smile. I did the thing women my age do when we are hurt. We keep the peace. We keep cooking. We keep serving. We keep hosting. We keep pretending we are fine. Inside, I was not fine. I kept looking at them without wanting to look at them. I kept watching their faces. I kept reading every reaction. It made me feel crazy. It made me feel like I was on trial in my own home. I heard myself talking. I heard myself laughing at the right moments. I heard myself being polite. It felt like I was performing a version of myself. The safe version. The version that never makes anyone uncomfortable. The version that never asks for accountability. The version that keeps the family picture smooth. The worst part is that I did not used to feel like I had to do that with them. They were my girls. They were supposed to be my soft place. Then it hit me. Maybe I was always trying to be a soft place for them. Maybe they were never trying to be one for me. At one point, I tried to ground myself by doing something practical. I remembered the bag of clothes, the work clothes, the business casual things I used to wear when I was bigger. It was a bag I planned to donate anyway, I thought. Maybe this can be a normal mother-daughter thing. Maybe it can feel like sharing. Maybe it can be light. So I mentioned it. I said I had a bag of clothes in their father's closet, their late father, my late husband. I said if anyone wanted to look before I donated it, they could. I did not push it. I did not insist. I just said it once. I tried to say it in a casual voice, like it was no big deal. Immediately, I felt the mood shift. My granddaughter said she did not want to wear grandma clothes. Fair enough. I did not even mind that. She is 22. She is allowed to have her style. I would not wear crop tops either. I do not expect her to wear my work blouses. But it was not what she said. It was the way she said it. It was the look she gave. It was the way they all looked at each other right after. It was the snickering. It was like a shared joke at my expense. It was like I was not a person to them in that moment. I was a prop. I was a punchline. I felt heat in my face. I felt my stomach turn. I wanted to say, "What is wrong with you?" I wanted to say, "Why are you acting like this?" I wanted to say, "I am your mother. I am your grandmother. I have done nothing to you." I wanted to say, "Why are you so cruel?" Instead, I swallowed it again. Because Christmas, because family, because I still wanted to believe it would stop if I did not react. It did not stop. As the day went on, the comments became more direct, like they got braver because I did not push back, like they realized they could keep going. My granddaughter said I looked more wrinkly now that I lost weight. She said it like she was commenting on the weather. She said it like it was an entertaining fact. I stood there and felt my skin on my face tighten in my mind. I felt suddenly aware of every line, I felt suddenly aware of every place where my body shows my age. I am 62. Of course I have wrinkles. I am not trying to be 22. I am trying to be healthy. But hearing it from her, hearing it in that tone, it made me feel ugly in a way I have not felt in years. It made me feel like no matter what I do, I will be punished. If I stayed heavy, they would judge me. If I lose weight, they will judge me. If I try to be healthier, they will laugh. If I do nothing, they will roll their eyes. There is no way to win. Then, dinner came. I had been careful all day, not in a loud way, not in an annoying way, just careful. I know how quickly weight can come back. I know how a holiday can become a week, then a month, then a habit. I did not want to slide. So when it was time to eat, I served myself smaller portions. I did not announce it. I did not say, I cannot eat that. I did not say, that is unhealthy. I did not comment on anyone else's plate. I did not act superior. I simply served myself. My oldest daughter saw my plate and made it a public moment. She said, in a snarky voice, "Is our food not good enough for you anymore? Too much fat?" It felt like she wanted to shame me. It felt like she wanted me to either eat more and fail, or refuse and look rude. It felt like a trap. I responded calmly, or as calmly as I could. I said, I have to be careful to keep losing and keep the weight off. That is the truth. That is not an insult. That is not a judgment. That is not me rejecting their cooking. That is me saying, I am trying to stay healthy. But the way she looked at me, it was like she heard something else. It was like she heard, I am better than you. It was like she heard, I do not want your food. It was like she heard, I am judging you. It was like she decided my choices were a personal attack. Then the smaller comments started, the kind that pretend to be jokes. Who wants pie? I'm sure you will not want any. You are not greedy like us. They said greedy like it was funny. They said greedy like it was a joke about themselves. But it was not about them. It was about me. It was about making me feel like a villain for eating less. It was about making me feel like I was insulting them by being careful. I did not call anyone greedy. I did not imply it. I never would. But they built a story where that is what I meant. Then they laughed at the story they invented. I still took a sliver of pie, pumpkin pie, my favorite. My granddaughter made it. I wanted to show appreciation. I wanted to enjoy it. I also wanted to prove I was not being rigid and cold. I wanted to show that I can have joy and balance. I ate it slowly. I tried to look normal while doing it, like even pie became a performance. After dinner we cleaned up. Dishes, counters, leftovers, the usual. I tried to breathe. I tried to reset. I thought, maybe dinner was the worst of it. Maybe we can move on. Then my older daughter laughed and said, "Are you going to go walk off the 200 calories you ate at dinner? Or hang around us a while?" That one hit me in a different way, because it did not just mock my diet. It mocked my presence. It implied that being with them was less important to me than calories. It implied I was choosing weight loss over family. It implied I was being selfish. It implied I was abandoning them emotionally. And my granddaughter jumped in. She laughed and said it was not 200, more like 60. So now my dinner was being calculated by a 22-year-old, like I was an experiment. Like my body was a math problem. Like my worth was numbers on a plate. I want to be clear about what I ate, because this is not me starving myself. This is me making normal choices. I had a small slice of ham that my 38-year-old daughter made. I had a bit of prime rib that my 44-year-old daughter made. I had sautéed green beans that I made. I did not choose the green bean casserole that my daughter-in-law made. My daughter-in-law is 40. She seemed irritated that I did not eat it. I had half of a baked potato. I had a small Hawaiian roll. I did not refuse food rudely. I did not push food away. I simply did not load my plate like I used to. I did not think anyone would care. I did not think anyone would notice. I did not think anyone would turn it into a weapon. But they did notice. They watched. They commented. They laughed. By the end of the evening, I felt like I'd been cornered. Not physically, emotionally, like 3 people had decided I was the target, like they needed to knock me down a peg, like they needed to remind me that my body is their business, like they needed to punish me for changing. I kept thinking about the hallway comment again. Soon I will not want to be seen with them. It made more sense now, because the way they acted felt like fear. It felt like insecurity. It felt like they were trying to flip the script, like they wanted to reject me first, like they wanted to make it seem like I am the one separating, like they wanted to make me the problem before I could become a threat. And then another thought showed up, a thought that made me feel sick. Maybe they liked me better when I was heavy, because when I was heavy, I was safe. When I was heavy, I was the funny one, the one who eats, the one who hosts, the one who never outshines, the one who never makes them compare, the one who can be pitied, the one who can be mocked quietly, the one they can feel better than. Now I am smaller. Now strangers treat me differently. Now I have energy. Now I play pickleball. Now I am doing something for myself. Now I am changing. Maybe that threatens them. I hate thinking that about my own daughters. I hate thinking that about my granddaughter. But I cannot ignore the evidence of that night. I cannot ignore the tone. I cannot ignore the laughter. I cannot ignore how coordinated it felt, like a group, when everyone left. I closed the door and my body finally released the tension. I cried hard. I cried like I was grieving something. I cried because I felt humiliated. I cried because I felt betrayed. I cried because I felt stupid for thinking my family would be proud of me. I cried because it felt like I had improved my health, and somehow that made me deserve punishment. I have read that weight loss can change relationships. I believed it in the abstract. I have seen people treat me differently now. Service people, doctors, random strangers. That part is gross. But I expected strangers to be shallow. I did not expect it from my girls. Now I do not know what to do. Do I address it as a group? Do I pull them aside one at a time? Do I ignore it and hope it stops? Do I risk making it worse by calling it out? Do I accept that this is who they are? Do I protect myself by keeping distance? I want my relationship with them. I want my family. I do not want a war over my body. I also do not want to be bullied in my own home. Besides gaining the weight back, how can I fix this? The next morning I woke up, and my first thought was not coffee. It was not gifts. It was not the weather. It was the hallway. It was the words. Deflating balloon. Soon you will not want to be seen with us. I felt the sting again before I even sat up. I walked into the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror. I did not do it on purpose at first. It just happened. I caught my reflection. My face looked smaller. My neck looked different. My cheeks were not as full. And yes, I could see lines I did not notice as much before. I could see where the weight used to fill things in. I stared at my own skin and felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed that my granddaughter said it out loud. I felt embarrassed that my daughters laughed. I felt embarrassed that I let it happen without saying anything. I felt embarrassed that I cried after everyone left like a kid. Then anger came in, quiet anger, not the loud kind, the kind that sits in your ribs and makes your jaw tight. Because none of this was about my wrinkles. Wrinkles are normal, age is normal. Wrinkles did not make them snicker like middle school girls. Wrinkles did not make them talk about me like I was a balloon. Wrinkles did not make them monitor my plate and make calorie jokes. That behavior was a choice, and it made me start replaying the past. It made me start scanning for signs I ignored. I thought about all the years I was heavy. I thought about family photos. I thought about how often they insisted I stand in the back. I thought about how often they said, "Let us take a picture of the kids," like I was not part of the memory. I thought about how often they laughed about my portion sizes in a way that felt playful at the time. I thought about how often they made jokes about me needing to sit, or me needing to rest, or me being slow. I thought about how I always laughed along, because if I did not laugh, I would look sensitive. I would look difficult. I would look like I could not take a joke. I thought about how often I minimized my own hurt. I thought about how often I swallowed words. I thought about how often I made myself small so everyone else could be comfortable. Then, I thought about the last 2 years, the hard work, the quiet work, the work that happens when no one is watching, the work that happens at the grocery store, the work that happens at night when you want sugar, the work that happens when you decide to walk instead of sit, the work that happens when you choose to stop eating because you are satisfied instead of because the plate is empty. I did not do it to impress them, but I did expect basic kindness. I expected them to be happy I was healthier. I expected them to say, "Mum, you look great." I expected them to ask, "How do you feel?" I expected them to say, "I am proud of you." Instead, I got a hallway roast session. Then I got a dinner full of jabs. So now I am sitting with a horrible question. Why? Why would the people who were supposed to love me act like this? One possibility is jealousy. I hate that word. It sounds shallow. It sounds like something people throw around to feel superior, but I cannot ignore it, because the dynamic felt like they wanted to cut me down. It felt like they wanted to say, "Do not get too comfortable. Do not think you are special. Do not think you are allowed to be proud." I am now only a couple sizes smaller than 2 of them, and about the same size as the 3rd. That matters. It changes the comparison. When I was 305, there was no comparison. They could be the smaller ones. They could be the normal ones. They could be the ones who would never get judged the way I was judged. They could feel safe. Now I am closer to them. Now my body is not the outlier. Now I am not the obvious fat person. Now I can walk into a room and not be the biggest. Now I can wear normal clothes. Now I can move with less effort. If they had built their identity on not being me, if they had built their confidence on being the smaller ones next to their fat mother, then my change might feel like I took something from them. Not logically, not fairly, but emotionally. Another possibility is fear. Fear that I will change my lifestyle and stop joining them. Fear that I will judge their food. Fear that I will judge their habits. Fear that I will become one of those people who never shuts up about calories. Fear that I will act superior. The thing is, I have not done that. I have never given unsolicited diet advice. I have never criticized their bodies. I have never made comments about their weight. They are my girls. I would never want them to feel how I felt. I did mention the bag of clothes, but that was not a lecture. That was not a sales pitch. That was not me pushing them to lose weight. That was me saying, "I have clothes I'm donating. Do you want them?" Even that simple offer turned into snickering. Even that turned into a joke at my expense. So if it is fear of something I have not done. It is fear of a story they are telling themselves. It is fear of their own guilt or their own insecurities. Another possibility is resentment. Maybe they resented having a heavy mom. Maybe they resented how people looked at me. Maybe they resented jokes other people made. Maybe they resented worrying about my health. Maybe they resented watching me struggle. Maybe they felt embarrassed and never admitted it. Maybe they felt like I was a burden. Maybe they felt like I took up too much space. If that resentment existed, my weight loss might not make it go away. It might make it worse. Because now they have to face the fact that it was not only my weight, it was their attitude. Another possibility is that they are simply mean when they are in a group together. This is the part that scares me, because it explains the vibe, the way they looked at each other, the way they snickered, the way each comment got a laugh, the way they built on each other, like a performance. I have seen group behavior like that before. People become bolder in a pack. People do things they would not do alone. People pile on because it gives them a rush. It makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel bonded. And that is what it felt like they were bonding at my expense. I keep thinking about the specific lines. Deflating balloon. That is not concern. That is ridicule. Soon, You will not want to be seen with us. That is not a question. That is an accusation. It is also a confession. It reveals what they worry about. It reveals what they project onto me. Wrinkly. That is not a loving observation. That is a jab. Is our food not good enough for you anymore? Too much fat. That is not curiosity. That is bait. You are not greedy like us. That is not self-deprecation. That is them putting words in my mouth. Are you going to go walk off the 200 calories you ate? That is not a joke. That is mocking the discipline I have fought for. More like 60. That is not humor. That is policing. These were not random. They were consistent. They were targeted. They were meant to make me feel small. And they worked. I also cannot ignore something else. My daughter-in-law seemed irritated too. She made the green bean casserole. I did not choose it from the buffet. I chose my sautéed green beans. I did not say anything negative about her dish. I did not push it away. I simply did not take it. Still, she seemed irritated, like my choices were a personal critique, like if I do not eat what she made, then I am insulting her. It is exhausting to be treated like that, because it makes every bite feel like a statement. It makes every choice feel political. It makes food feel like a test. I used to fail that test by eating too much. Now I fail it by eating less. I keep thinking about the phrase mean girls. It feels dramatic. It feels childish. But that is exactly what it felt like. It felt like being surrounded by women who enjoy making someone else feel humiliated. It felt like they were enjoying it. It felt like they were waiting for me to react. It felt like they wanted me to either cry in front of them or snap and give them a story to tell later. I did neither. I held it in. I waited until they left. Then I cried alone. Now I have to decide what to do next, because I cannot unhear it, and I cannot unknow how it felt. If I say nothing, they might keep doing it. They might think it is fine. They might think I agree with the jokes. They might think I deserve it. If I speak up, they might deny it. They might say I am too sensitive. They might say it was just teasing. They might say I am acting superior now. They might say I am trying to start drama. They might say I am the one who ruined the holiday. I have lived long enough to know how these conversations go. People who bully rarely admit it. They often flip it. They often make you the problem for noticing. Still, I cannot go back to being silent forever. I do not want to spend the rest of my life shrinking my joy so they do not feel threatened. I am 62. I lost over 110 pounds. I worked hard. I deserve to feel proud. I deserve to feel healthy. I deserve to feel safe with my family. So I keep turning the same question over in my mind. Besides gaining the weight back, how do I fix this relationship? I have been sitting with this for days. I keep replaying it like a scene I cannot turn off. It shows up when I am driving. It shows up when I am making breakfast. It shows up when I am folding laundry. It shows up when I lace my shoes for a walk. It shows up when I am on the pickleball court and someone compliments me and I feel proud for 1 second. Then my brain says, deflating balloon, wrinkly, greedy like us, walk off the calories. And the pride collapses. I hate that they took that from me. I also hate that part of me still wants their approval. I am 62. I should not need anyone to clap for me to feel good about my own health. But they are my daughters. She is my granddaughter. I carried those girls. I raised them. I showed up for birthdays. I showed up for school things. I showed up for heartbreaks. I showed up for sick days. I showed up in the way mothers show up, even when no one remembers later. So when they act like I am a joke, it is not just rude. It feels like betrayal. It feels even worse, because I did not turn into a different person. I did not become snobby. I did not become cruel. I did not become obsessed and preachy. I did not start telling them what to eat. I did not tell them to count calories. I did not post before and after pictures and tag them. I did not try to make their bodies a conversation. I kept my journey mostly private. I did my work quietly. That is part of why this makes no sense. If I had been obnoxious, If I had been lecturing, if I had been bragging, then maybe I could understand pushback. But I did not do that. What I did was show up smaller, and they punished me for it. I have tried to be honest with myself. I have tried to check my own behavior. I have tried to ask, did I say something that sounded judgmental? Did I act like I was better? Did I roll my eyes at food? Did I make faces? Did I refuse dishes dramatically? Did I talk about calories too much? I do not think I did. I truly do not. I took smaller portions. That was it. I also offered the bag of clothes. That could have been misread. I can see that. If someone is insecure about size, an offer like that could feel like a comment. But I did not say, you need these because you are bigger. I did not say anything like that. I said I was donating them. I said, if you want to look, you can. That is a normal thing between women. At least I thought it was. Still, even if that offer annoyed them, it does not justify hallway insults. It does not justify a full night of jabs. It does not justify 3 people teaming up to mock me. The hardest part is that it was not just one person. If it had been one person, I could separate it. I could say, maybe she is having a bad day. Maybe she is stressed. Maybe she is projecting. Maybe she will apologize later. But it was all 3 of them. It felt coordinated. It felt like a pack. It felt like they fed off each other. When I think about it that way, it scares me because it suggests the problem is bigger than one bad mood. It suggests the problem is a dynamic. It suggests they are comfortable being cruel together. It suggests they enjoy it, and if they enjoy it, then what am I supposed to do? I also cannot stop thinking about the line. Soon, you will not want to be seen with us. That line does not come from nowhere. That line reveals what they believe about the world. It reveals what they believe about being thin. It reveals what they believe about being seen. It reveals what they believe about status. It sounds like they think being smaller means you get to be picky about who you associate with. It sounds like they think being heavy means you are the embarrassing one. It sounds like they think bodies are social currency. And that makes me wonder something else. If they believed that about me when I was big, then they were the ones who did not want to be seen with me. They might have been the ones hiding me. They might have been the ones making excuses. They might have been the ones avoiding pictures. They might have been the ones hoping I would sit down so they could stand without me. I never wanted to believe that about my own kids, but I cannot stop the thought now, because the mockery does not sound like new information. It sounds like something they were already thinking, like my weight was always a topic behind my back, like my body was always something they processed together, like my presence was always something they managed. And now that I lost weight, they are angry because the story changed. Maybe they miss having a punching bag. Maybe they miss having a clear hierarchy. Maybe they miss having someone in the family who was always the least attractive in their eyes, always the one they could compare themselves against, always the one who made them feel safe. That thought makes me feel sick, but it also fits. I've seen it happen with friends before, not with my family, but with friends when someone changes, when someone improves, when someone gets healthier. It can make other people face themselves. Some people celebrate you. Some people resent you. Some people try to pull you back down to where you used to be because it makes them more comfortable. I never thought my daughters would be the ones pulling. I also keep thinking about my late husband, their father. If he were alive, would he have shut this down? Would he have told them to stop? Would he have protected me? Would he have been proud? Or would he have joined in? I do not know. That uncertainty hurts too, because it reminds me I do not have the buffer I used to have. I do not have someone else in the room to change the tone. I am alone in the role of mother now, and when my own kids turn sharp, I have no one to lean on inside the family. I have talked to friends about it. I have gotten the typical answers. They are jealous. They are insecure. They feel judged. They are projecting. All of those might be true. None of those fixes the pain. I want to fix the relationship. But I also want dignity. I do not want to beg for basic respect. I do not want to apologize for losing weight. I do not want to shrink my life again to make them comfortable. I do not want to eat more just so they stop making jokes. I do not want to pretend their comments did not hurt. I do not want to act like it is normal for a granddaughter to call her grandmother wrinkly and laugh. So I am stuck if I confront them. I risk them turning it on me. I risk them calling me dramatic. I risk them saying I am too sensitive. I risk them saying I have changed. I risk them saying I think I am better than them. I risk them saying I am obsessed. I risk them saying I ruined Christmas. If I stay silent, I accept it. I teach them they can do it again. I teach them my feelings do not matter. I teach myself that my role is to be the target. I have also considered doing it individually, talking to my older daughter alone, then my younger daughter, then my granddaughter. But that is complicated too, because the moment I speak to one, the others will know. They talk, they will compare notes, they will decide on a story, and if their story is, Mum is being weird now, then I become the villain anyway. I have also considered ignoring it and waiting. Maybe the shock of my appearance will fade. Maybe they will adjust. Maybe they will stop making jokes once it is not new. But the hallway conversation makes me think it is not only shock, it is judgment, and I do not know how you adjust to being judged by people you love. Part of me wants to send a message, a calm message, a simple message, something like, I overheard what you said. It hurt me. I am not judging you. I am trying to be healthy. I need you to stop making comments about my body and my food. That sounds reasonable, that sounds adult, that sounds clear. But part of me is terrified of the response, because I can already hear it. We were joking. You are too sensitive. You always play the victim. You're acting like you are better now. You're the one who made everything weird. You are the one obsessed with food. You are the one who cannot relax. You are the one ruining family time. I have heard versions of that in life. It is the way people dodge accountability. It is the way bullies pretend they are the victim when you ask them to stop. And if they say that, then what? Do I go quiet again? Do I accept it? Do I walk away from my own family? That is the part that makes my chest tight, because I do not want to lose them. I also do not want to lose myself. I worked hard. I fought for my health. I fought for my mobility. I fought for my future. I do not want the reward to be a new kind of loneliness. So now I am asking, how do I fix this relationship? Do I address it as a group? Do I say it at once in the same room? Do I look them in the eyes and say, I heard you? Do I risk tears? Do I risk anger? Do I risk them laughing again? Do I do it individually? So each person has to face it without the pack. So each person cannot hide behind the group laughter. So each person has to own their words. Or do I ignore it and hope it stops, and hope they grow up, and hope they remember I am a person? I do not want to gain the weight back. I will not do that. I cannot do that. Not for their comfort, not for their approval. I want to keep my health. I want to keep my progress. I want to keep my joy. I also want my daughters and granddaughter to treat me like family and not like a target. So what do I do?